Hey guys, I hope you can hear me. I'm going to ask that if you can hear me, if you can see and hear me, put a one in the chat. This is the first time I'm going live from my phone, so it's a little bit of a different experience. I'm not in the regular studio. We are live in DC by the White House, Treasury Department, the Washington Monuments that way. It could be a little loud. So we're going to try this. If you can see and hear me, put a one in the chat. All right, Carol says one. Carol's putting in a one. Look at Keita G. Good to see Keita G in here too. This is the first time I'm doing this from a phone. And I've got my little mobile mic. It looks like it's going well. Shout out to Centura. Shout out to John. Shout out to all you guys that are in the chat on this Sunday morning. So here we are in DC. You're like, all right, guys, like everybody's like, hey, AV, what are you doing in DC? Well, I have to go to bar exam boot camp in Boston tomorrow. So I drove from Georgia to what's it called? DC, right? That was that was a long drive. It was not fun. So I spent the night here. I'm gonna meet some friends for lunch in New York. So after I do this stream with you guys, I'm gonna stop in New York. But I figure I could do a live Q&A with you guys and just walk through the national, some of these like really important sites when it comes to United States history. So right now, I don't know what this is, but I'm in front of it. The White House is behind me, but as you can see, there's all this like Secret Service, and I don't know how close I can get to it. But I guess we could just start walking and talking and, answer any questions that you guys have. As you know, we had a pretty significant ruling last week. So, if you guys have any questions about that and how that works from a legal perspective, I'm here to answer those. There will be a sentencing. So that's going to kind of suck. But there is a sentencing coming next month. Now, what does that look like? Could be house arrest. It could be jail time. I mean, I don't know if they'll actually go through with that, but these are some of the things that we're looking at, right? In addition to that, it's a misdemeanor. It's a very small crime. Um, you know, so it could be probation. We don't know as of right now. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to read some supers. If you guys have any questions, what I'm going to ask that you do is put a Q and then drop your question in the chat. So I know it's a little windy. If that gets annoying, let me know. But we'll do this for about an hour. And then, of course, I'll answer any questions. So I see a few super chats that came in. I'm going to go ahead and read those. Shout out to Dear Woke Christian, who says, dropping by early to support my sister. Keep up the phenomenal work. Thank you. It's you guys know it's not easy ever to like do this stuff while you're traveling. And I'm trying to get as creative as possible with, educating you guys on the law, how it works, and also covering these topics, right? So thank you so much, dear Woke Christian. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, I know he does a little bit of political commentary as well. So check him out. Thank you so much, dear Woke Christian. Shout out to High Value Man. I missed my soundboard. I can't hit your button, but shout out to High Value Man. Thank you so much for the super generous super chat. He is dropping $100 and he says 6 a.m. on this end. That's right. This is very early, but I got to hit the road soon and head out to New York in a little bit to make time and make it to boot camp tomorrow morning. So that's going to be fun. But if you guys could do me a huge favor and type HVM in the chat, that would be fantastic. I'm going to go and read those questions to see what questions you guys have about the ruling. What do you think about the ruling? Those sort of things, and go from there. So HVM, thank you so much for popping in at 6 a.m. I think that means your notifications work. But thank you again for the super generous super. We have Randy. Oh my God. If this is the Randy, I haven't seen you in forevs. How are you? She says safe travels AV7. Thank you so much, Randy. Really appreciate that. And sorry, guys, my glasses in the glare. All of that's like in the way. I don't think we can get a good view of the White House from here. We might be able to, but we're by the Lincoln Memorial, so I'll keep walking. I'll keep going. Thank you so much, Randy. Let's see what questions you guys have. Look, another one just popped in. Messy Michon live. I think I'm driving through Pennsylvania today. I might be, so I might be in your neck of the woods. I'm just going through everybody's neck of the woods today. I might see MTR later. I have to text him actually. I might see him later to see what he's up to. I know he's in the north this weekend too. So it's good to see fellow creators up in here. Good to see you, Messy Michon. Cat Not Williams. Oh my God, I missed my soundboard. Cat Not Williams hits me with a $20 super. She says, I feel like we're all on the road trip, right? I mean, some people are getting a little crazy with they're getting crazy with like the questions on like I'm doing Q&A on Instagram and like one dude keeps asking me questions. It's so much fun. All right, guys, look, Washington Memorial right behind me, right? People are walking this way. So I do think we could get a view of the White House. But yeah, I haven't been down here in DC in years. I think it's been like 10 years. So, I thought about it. I was just like, hey, since I stopped, I might as well bring my people with me. So little cool thing. And it's a timely, you can't make it up. Like last week, I was not planning on going live on this thing. I don't think a lot of people knew that that was the verdict that was going to come out. Um, but it did, you know, and there's not much we can do about it. Yeah, guys, I don't think there's like a blockade of Secret Service over here, so I might not be able to get close. So we'll go this way. But yeah, very nice view of the Washington Memorial. Yeah, there's like, I don't know if you can see it. There's a bunch of stuff going on back there, but we'll go this way. We'll go by the Capitol building, the Supreme Court, because why not? And speaking of that, I think the other thing that could happen, a lot of people were saying that Trump could potentially appeal directly to the Supreme Court and see if that could speed things along. I think as we continue throughout the week, we'll get more developments on that. But, I've kind of been trying to play this down the middle in the spirit of justice and democracy, right? We have three branches of government and they should function in a specific way. Um, we're seeing this lawfare thing take place. And some of you guys might ask, like, what is lawfare? Well, simply put, lawfare is kind of like a newer term. Um, you have political opponents using the legal system to get things accomplished. You know, to sabotage their opponents, so to speak. I think a lot of you guys found me and some of you guys found the lead attorney when we started covering the whole Fannie Willis thing. And with that, you know, a big aspect of corruption started to come out. We see a lot of people that went to the same universities and in positions of power now. Um, and it's just interesting. It's super interesting. So thank you guys so much for dropping the supers. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and see if I could catch your questions. And then I think I see another super that came in. Shout out to the one Lo-Fi with $10. Says, hey, AV, I uploaded that video for you. Well, thank you. I'll need it. If you put together some lo-fi stuff, I'll definitely check it out. And the reason why is because, yeah, 8 hours of driving today is not going to be fun. So I will definitely check that out. Thank you so much, E1 Lo-Fi. If any of the mods are hanging out and can drop the link to her channel, that would be amazing. And I didn't realize it until I went back to the live stream, because you were like, oh, I put like an Asian inspired playlist together for you. I was like, why did she do that? And then I went to Leech Stream and realized that somebody was talking about flying me out to Japan. I wasn't there for that stream, so I'm just kind of catching up on all of it. So thank you so much, the one lo-fi for the super. Okay, let's get to some of you guys' questions and we'll go from there. Add current comment. You guys are typing HVM in the chat. Debbie says she's going to have to watch the replay too. No problem. It's early. Keita says, yes, bar exam boot camp. That will help you a lot. Good luck. Thank you. Yes, it's a quick few weeks. People are asking if I'm leaving Atlanta permanently. I don't know, but I know that my school is doing this and they're requiring me to be there in person. I'm flying back to Atlanta later this week, but my school is crazy with people actually being in the building. You can't do it remotely, even though we did it for COVID. Like I was a COVID law student. Like I did a lot of this stuff from home. So what can you do? Keita says, come visit me in Delaware. If I have time. Am I cutting through Delaware? Tyrell says, I need help with the ruling. You two people are so upset, but they say nothing is going to happen. A lot of people are upset. I was watching Robert G. I don't know how to say his last name. He's another big law tuber. He did a pretty good explanation, but like everybody keeps saying nothing is going to happen. But I think you have to lay out all of the particular cards. And there's a few of them. I think I just kind of explained what some of those cards are. I think as we get closer to sentencing, we can go from there. And it's kind of tricky because Trump can't really talk about it. Why can't he talk about it? Because there is a gag order. So, you have that, right? When there's a gag order and he's already been fined, how many times? We've covered that on this channel. He's been fined a ton of times. And he's actually kind of like following the rules now. Like now he's like, all right, let me not say anything. Of course, people are monitoring Truth Social, all of that stuff. So, it's tough. It's tough, but we'll go from there. I got the one lo-fi. WD says MTR. Corey says Trump will probably get the probation. I think so. I mean, it's still an election year. And sorry, guys, we're by a main road, so it got a little loud. But we're by an election year. So at the same time, we're we're actually in an election year. Sorry, I can't talk this morning. Um, so we have to think of that too. Are you really going to take a candidate off of the campaign trail? They already did. So we've already seen that take place. Kita says, same. I need to visit again and be a tourist. Yeah, listen, this is kind of fun. This is fun. Like I haven't done this in forevs, and I'm like, hey, I've got an hour to kill. I might as well just do some Q&A, walk and talk with you guys. We are a little bit closer to the Washington Monument now. There we go. So I'll get as close as possible. And I think we're on the National Mall as well. So the Capitol building might be like that way. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It's a nice day out. Beautiful day. People playing, catch, good old American pastime, baseball, all of those things. Eric says, good morning from Baltimore. Yeah, I think I'm going to be driving through Baltimore today. So it's good to see where you guys are from. Brian says, Q. Let me stop and read. How can a judge that is personally connected to the trial, like this judge was, not get taken off the case by, I don't know, someone that oversees this kind of thing? Well, good question, Brian. Oh, thank you. Stacy, thank you so much for the Cash App. I just saw 24. It says Trump, and she put some red, white, and blue um, hearts. So thank you so much for that, Trace, Stacy. It's hard for me, guys, because usually when I'm in my studio, I use my phone to read Cash Apps, but I see them pop up as they come in. So I'll try to catch them. But to answer your question, Brian, typically when you want to disqualify a judge, oh, look at this. Something's happening over there. Look at this big building. Um, Typically when you want to do that, you need to like file motions to do it before the trial starts. And I believe Trump's team did that. Now, it's definitely going up on appeal. We all know that. Everybody's been telling you that. So you're going to see an appeal happen. If anything, it's probably already filed, like immediately after the verdict was reached. So we're now going to look at the decision for him to not be disqualified, right? That's where we are. With Michonne, there's a lot of things going on there. I think there was something with the daughter and the opposing party and, campaign donations, things like that, paid millions of dollars, all of those sorts of things, right? So all of that's going to continue to be looked at. Appeals can take a while, guys, and it really depends on the type of case, but it can take some time. Now, the big thing about this It's never been done in US history where a state has been able to have this type of influence on in the executive branch, essentially the president, you know? So this is groundbreaking. In my opinion, I think it's probably better if he just takes it to the Supreme Court. I think the Supreme Court building is that way. So if I have time and if my phone doesn't die, hopefully I can walk over there and show it to you guys. Um, but it's just ironic to see how all of this is playing out. I don't think anybody thought like a year ago that this is how the result would be, whether you're pro Trump or whether you're not, right? So, excellent question, Brian. All right, guys, we are as close as I can get to the monument. There it is. You know, lovely flags on the base. It's pretty cool. Let's see what other questions you have. I'll sit down here for a second, catch my breath. But let's see what other questions you guys have. Um, Michonne says Trump's going to ask Biden for a pardon. I heard he was at the beach this weekend. Uh, so I don't think he's in the city. So super interesting. Eric says, be careful. I know. I'm trying to. Um, that's the thing. I thought twice about going live. I was just like, is it bad if people know where I am for safety purposes? But it seems pretty secure here. The Secret Service is everywhere. So, there's Capitol Police everywhere too. If anything, you guys are all watching, so you can call 911 if something happens. It's like, hey, my favorite YouTuber just got attacked. Something happened. I'm dressed pretty normally, so doesn't look like a threat, right? Cat Williams says he'd need habeas corpus to be jailed for that, I think. Yeah, I think so. Carol says, oh, I'm sorry. I thought they had your name up there. My bad. LaShonda says, I don't think they realize by doing all this to President Trump is just unleashing the Kraken. He has more support than ever. Yeah, I did kind of keep up with, all news outlets like I normally do. And he did actually get like a record, I think it was like $52 million in donations after the verdict. And it was like 24 hours after the verdict came in. And it wasn't just like, people that were like cutting checks for like 300,000. I think I saw some hedge fund guy do that, something like that. But this is like from people like you guys, just here's $20. Like it's the equivalent of Trump getting 52 million in super chats. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So interesting stuff. Backwoods Law says judges are tasked with self-recusals. He didn't recuse himself. Thank you so much for that clarity. I think you're an attorney. Pam says, where is she traveling to and why? I've explained it a few times, Pam. I'm heading to Boston for a bar exam boot camp, and I'm just kind of passing through some cities and passed through DC and took an opportunity to get together and chat with you guys. So that's what you're seeing. Brenda, Trump was going to be found guilty, but it's cool. It sets precedent now. All other former presidents can now be held accountable. They're all raggedy. So it's an observation. It's an observation. Ironic says lawfare is not fair law. I mean, it's not. It isn't. I agree with you on that. I do. WD says 100. Tyrell says AV is so dope. Thank you so much. And thank you to all 182 of you guys in here right now. Again, not in my studio, so we're just making this happen. Okay, it's hard to see, but I think if I cross the street, we're gonna head towards the Capitol building and closer to the Supreme Court. So we're gonna go to the left. Mark says, when do you take the Georgia State Bar exam? Well, that's the thing, guys. I went to school in Massachusetts, and there are certain parameters in Georgia. Like you either need to go to a Georgia State school or live there for a certain amount of time. I've only lived in Georgia for a year, so that's why I'm trying to figure out also which state bars I'm going to sit for, because you can be barred in specific states. Georgia, unfortunately, is not the first place that I can take the bar exam in. So I'm going to start with Massachusetts. There for the bar exam, it's called the UBE, so it's a uniformed bar exam. Now, here's the thing. There are certain states that will you'll be immediately barred in their state as well. But there's other states where I won't be. So this is why it gets a little tricky. And everybody's like, why are you going back there? I mean, I'll be honest. I don't want to go back to Boston. I really don't want to go back to Mass. It's cold. I hate snow. I was a homeowner for 4 years and I cleaned it up and I hate snow. So that is one thing about the great state of Georgia that I love is the weather. And it's a great place to live, you know? I mean, Fulton County is it's a little crazy these days. And you guys know like Buckhead is there's good parts of Buckhead, but there's also like shady parts of Buckhead. So um hopefully that answers the question. Well, I don't know what's going on over there. Backwoods says the judges worry about it because they do not want to be found short on appeals. You want money or what? Sorry, I'm like walking through people taking photos. Keita says America runs on corruption. Unfortunately, it does. Hi, Jay-Z. Good morning to you. WD says I've always had my playlist for my road travels. Yep. Arch says Metallica has an album called And for Justice for All where they sang about lawfare for 30 years. Wow. I'll check it out, Arch. I didn't know that. Thank you. Suzanne says the positive response and support and fundraising is a complete opposite of what the Dems expected. Yeah, I don't think that people expected that result. I mean, that's a lot of money. And I think it was just a record of um, fundraising in less than 24 hours. Papa V, good to see you. Question, do you attribute the delay in sentencing to a crowded court docket or lawfare? Well, that's an excellent question. New York is quite the state when it comes to a populace and populations. I'm gonna just not wait for there we go. Sorry, I'm crossing the street. Um, that's a good one. I think that it's a mixture of both, Papa V, because technically he's gonna be treated like everyone else, obviously, right? So when they do things like that, they're gonna put the case in the queue. But there's so many people that live in New York, millions and millions of people that live in New York. You know, when it comes to civil cases, that's why a lot of people are like, "Hey, you may want to consider just going straight to the Supreme Court on this one because that will at least speed up the process." All right, guys, I think I can get a pretty good view for you of the Capitol building. So I'm going to turn the phone around. Bam! Right about there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll get closer because we're next to cars and it's so loud. But here we go. There it is. So we'll get closer. But I hope that answered the question, Papa V. Shadow Seeker. They're probably going to give an ankle bracelet and house arrest so he can't campaign, but he will have to do YouTube and reach the millions instead. Check out his YouTube channel. I watched it on Friday and it didn't really have good numbers. Like, I think there are a lot of tubers that get better numbers as far as like live streams and things like that. Like, I think it was in front of Trump Tower. They just kind of like he just gave an address of what happened and giving his reactions and things like that. So we'll see. I forgot to go in person for school. The director, Walker AV, Director TM Walker AV. Hey, oh, look, a super. Ironic Barcat. Thank you so much for the $10 Canadian bucks. Lawfare is not fair law. Thank you. Tiff, good morning. Good to see you. Tyrell says AV is the best. The old veteran gamer says Trump 24. Eric has a question. What's your take on Trump suddenly soaring in popularity with Black Americans? Ah, well, that's an interesting question. I think it depends because there are, and you guys know, like, and again, let me at least talk about my background too, because people like to call me African. So my background is, my family's from Cape Verde, so I'm Portuguese and African. Some people are like, you're not Black enough. I've literally been like my whole life. It feels like sometimes people are like, "You're not African," and other times people are like, "You are." So it's been like we haven't really had a home, you know. So I always just go by mixed because of all of this confusion. Anywho, I think that for a long time, Black Americans have voted Democratic traditionally, you know, and it may not have been the best choice as far as supporting needs. You know, I think, Trump made a comment recently over the past few years, basically saying, hey, you know, I've been going through the criminal justice system. It's treated me a certain way. I think we can all agree, no matter what color that you are, that the most incarcerated race in this country are Black people, right? Sometimes people are sitting in jail for things that they didn't do. Sometimes they are sitting in a Fulton County prison that's fallen apart. Sometimes they're dying of bed bugs. Sometimes, we'll use Fulton County as an example, sometimes you can wait 5 years to go in front of a judge. So I think that for the people that are now starting to go to the red side, there's good reason for it. I think that they're just starting to see that some of the idealisms over the years have just changed, and even the Democratic Party has changed. Like in the 60s, you had people that were like, peace and love and let's not go to war. And, that was really led by the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party is certainly transformed over the last 50 years. And I think, over time, you're gonna have people that change. A lot of liberals are folks that have certain ideals. They seem to be educated. You know, I came up, like in college and all those years, kind of being more on the liberal side. But that's because I was in a blue state. You know, um, a lot of people don't have college degrees in the United States. I think it's something around like 30% of Americans have bachelor degrees. So, when you go to universities here, um, there is a lot of this like free thinking type of stuff that's happening, you know, that does impact our young people. But what happens is with young people, they graduate, they grow up, they start to make money, they start to develop families, they start to have values. Right now, everybody's focusing on, I think it's Gen X. I'm a millennial, so it's kind of like we're old now. We're in our 30s now, like we're approaching 40 now. So we've developed things that matter. We pay taxes, property taxes, like everybody else. Taxes are not fun. Oh my God, when I sold my house, guys, it was absurd how expensive it was in taxes. Oof, I don't even want to talk about that. Anywho, thank you so much for the question, Eric. Hopefully that provided some context. Those are just my thoughts. And again, I could be wrong. So I say stuff on here and people are like, "You're crazy. I hate you." Shout out to Casual Economist. Just saw the $5. He says, TLA 2028. He'd love that. He'd love that. You guys want to see us run? We would have so much fun. And then, like, in an ideal world, like, we would just have, like, the best cabinet ever. It'd be amazing. Shout out to Terica. Thank you so much. She sends $10. Appreciate you, Terica. She says, question, can Trump file an appeal before or delay the sentencing date? I believe that appeal is, like, if not filed on Friday, like tomorrow. I believe it's going to be immediately filed, right? Can it delay the sentencing? I don't think it will because the sentencing date was already issued. They announced it on Friday. I think it's somewhere around this week. Or sorry, 30 days out. So next month. So we're in June. We will probably see something last week of June or this sucks. First week of July. Independence Day. What? Can you imagine that? I had to stop in my tracks. I think, can you imagine Independence Day? So looking at the Capitol building, getting a little closer, just showing you guys. Great question, Terica. E. Capone. E. Capone's on the other side. He says Trump prison 2024. WD is in Missouri. It's 8:43 there. Mike says Trump will get 4 years community service at 1600 Pennsylvania Ave. I mean, how does that work? How would community service work if you are on the executive branch and you command the military? And shout out to the Marines. I forgot to mention you guys in the last live stream. So hoorah! I think that's what you say, right? I could be wrong. Uh, Biden prison 2025. Did you guys see the? They asked him. I think it was Friday or Thursday when the news broke, and they were like, "Hey, what do you think about this? Like, like, did you influence this? Like, what do you think happened with Trump?" And he just like turned around and just like eerily smiled. It was so creepy. It was so creepy. It's like the strangest thing. Amazing Disgrace says, "What process is in place to reprimand or impeach rogue judges?" Oh, it's tough because this is New York. You know, I think that the appeal will do it. Um, a lot of people say that our system works and that it's perfect right now, and as we can see, it's not. This is a flaw in the system. When you have judges that are not impartial, like a lot of you guys found this with the whole Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade thing, and you guys saw how conflicted Judge McAfee was because he needed to make a decision that wasn't going to piss everyone off. you know, he needed to make a choice, and especially if you're running again. So, like Mashawn, for instance, is going to run again. But do you think he's going to get elected again in the state that he's in the place that he's in? Yes. you know, he is likely going to get elected again. So if he can get voted back in, and if he makes a mistake, we have to wait for it to go through the appeals process. But the cog in the system is that, if there's checks and balances for a judge like that, how do you move forward? There are shitty judges. Lead talks about it all the time. Sometimes you're going to have shitty judges that make decisions that probably aren't the most sound, right? So that's how we have issues with the legal system. Number one, I think this has been going on for years, but now it's impacting the highest person in the land. You know, just as a person of color, it's so sad to see all of these men incarcerated and to sit there for years. Yeah, some of them have committed lesser crimes. Some of them deserve the crimes, the time for the crimes that they've committed. I'm not saying that they don't. But I do think that the African American community has significantly suffered from it. And it's just time for change. But like, there have been people that have been talking about this for years and asking for the change, and it just hasn't happened. But like, I think there needs to be a complete reform. But our system has worked for 300 years. But is it modern enough in 2024 and in the future? So, all right, showing you guys progress, getting a little closer. Let's see what else you have. Thank you so much, Amazing Disgrace. Hi, Danny. JC has a question. How do you get found guilty of 34 felony counts and not get jail time? Well, we haven't gotten to sentencing yet. So usually what happens in trials is you take it to trial. Every side gets to argue. It gets put in front of a jury. They have opening arguments. Each side gets an opportunity to share their evidence and, kind of build their case. And then towards the end, they have closing arguments. Then the next thing that happens is the jury makes a decision. That's called a verdict. And that's what we saw. Okay, so that's one phase of it, right? Is the verdict, the reading of the verdict, the reading of the jury's decision. The next phase of trial is sentencing, and that typically happens about a month out after a verdict is read. So he is going to face sentencing, and that's where a judge will determine the punishment. So Mashawn has to make a choice here. What's the punishment going to be? So I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of power for one person, for a president, whether that president is Democratic or whether that president is Republican. Can you guys imagine if this happened to Barack? It'd be tough. There would be an uproar too, you know. Uh, Paul says everybody knows Biden is pardoning himself and his son for getting the boot. Yeah, did you guys hear about Hunter? He's going to trial. I think he like bent some rules about like drug use and um like there was a gun license or something like that. Something along those lines. Rasden says, looking cute there, AV. The beast has been rudely awakened. Whoa! Whoa! Uh y'all see Hillary? Hillary's still making comments too. She's like, I told y'all all the shenanigans. Um Mike says, NY, the shithole of America. Don't say that. I gotta go there today, Mike. Oh man, here's the thing. One of my best friends lives in New York, so I'm actually going to have lunch with him and take a break off of the road. But um, it's been getting bad. I'm a little nervous to go there today. I think there's supposed to be an Israeli parade, and you guys know like the war that's happened with Israel and Palestine, so it's going to be tough. Sorry for the ice cream truck. Reminds me of my childhood. We're going to deal with that for a second. Hey, Valhalla. It's been a long time, brother. Josh says, an AV walk and talk. What a great morning, right? I went to Tate, spent a lot of money on coffee and a bagel. Tate's expensive. Um, Thank you. I don't feel like it right now. My hair's clipped up. I'm all sweaty walking for you guys. Tyrell says half of a baby. What y'all talking about? Half on a baby? Who's talking about half on a baby? I think I'm pretty great. The donations were crazy. I'm really back in the chat, guys. Trump got nearly a standing ovation. Yeah, he went to UFC. He went to a fight yesterday, right? Um, Please leave your touch DNA on that like button. Yes, if you guys can hit the like button. I'm really working hard here. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Leave a comment if I don't get to your question after this. Terica, he received 750,000 right after the verdict. Carol, how is it that all the charges are misdemeanors, but he has 34 felonies? Did I misunderstand that the charges were misdemeanors? So they're felonious charges, but in the state of New York, the things that he's being charged of are misdemeanors in lots of other places, right? And I read it. If you want to go back, Carol, to my last live stream, I actually bought up the jury sheet. And technically, there are 34 counts of things, but they're like the same three transactions. Transactions, what did I say? I said invoice, voucher, check. It was like 7 transactions altogether and 7 payments altogether. And if you group them all together, it's like something like 7 transactions. It really is just 7 checks. And if you think about the charges, I think when they read the jury instructions, it was really unclear exactly what he was being charged with. So it's actually a good observation, Carol. But there's a lot of confusion on what the actual charges are. So just pointing that out as well. So thank you so much, Carol, for the question. Old Veteran Gamer says, facts, Bush, Clinton, Biden, Obama need to be arrested and charged for their crimes. Seaburist the chef says, fudge it, we'll do it live. I mean, let's do it. Keita tells me to take the MA bar. Pam says, well, I think if AV is going to be one awesome attorney. Thank you so much. Aaron says, I'm a liberal, but I found your channel interesting. Your opinions are great, but I feel as if Trump deserves this. No one should be above the law. Yeah, listen, I don't think anybody should be above the law. But the contrarian point on this one, what I struggle with is the 3 branches of government. And I'm sorry, maybe it's because of the thousands of pages I read in law school about how these things need to be separate no matter what. It doesn't mean that the executive branch shouldn't be held accountable, but at the same time, there should be some difference. Because if we're saying that he shouldn't be above the law, that means that one branch can be touched. What about the other two? you know? So it's like the double-edged sword. That's why it's so tough. Listen, guys, they actually keep the grass like, I wish my lawn looked like this. How do they do it? How do they do it? Red Bunny says Fanny is there too. Well, that's the other thing. Fanny got reelected, and McAfee kept her on the case. Nathan had to go. But like, look at the outcome of that one. That went to the appeals court. So all of this stuff is just confusing sometimes. Job says they ain't going to do nothing to you if you go up there to Lenox Mall. I used to live in Lenox Mall, but I would only go in the daytime on weekdays. Too funny. Artie says the charges are typically misdemeanors, but they bump them up to felonies just for President Trump. Wouldn't be surprised. Corey says you should move to Greenville, South Carolina, access to Atlanta, or move to Spartanburg, South Carolina, access to Charlotte. Both are way cheaper. Yeah, I'll be honest, guys. I drove through the Carolinas yesterday. Um, and when I worked for my last company, I had to go to Charlotte a lot. I don't like Charlotte. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And this is no shade at Charlotte. Lando's from there. A few of you guys are from Charlotte. I was like, oh my God. But I will say, one time I was on a plane and met like a former FBI agent, and he lived in South Carolina and like started a business and was flying back from Boston and was just teaching some courses on, I think it was like personal protection or something for like corporations. And he had mentioned that he liked South Carolina and like moved down there from DC. So a lot of people are moving there. What else you got? Random stuff. What are we doing in DC? I'm stopping here. Stopped here for the day. Spent the night here because I'm driving up to the north. So I'll be hitting New York in a few hours, but just wanted to take an opportunity to do a Q&A with you guys. Doug says, welcome to DC. Beautiful day here. It's nice. It's nice. It is nice. Brian says, this is cool, AV. I like your AV on the move vibe. Yeah, I'm trying. I miss my soundboard, though. I wish I could hit the button when you guys drop supers. Hit that like button. Wilmer says, they are elevated to felonies because they are committed in the pursuance of another crime. Thank you so much. EE says, I have an attorney who refuses to get guardian ad litem for my 13-year-old daughter, 13-year-old in divorce with abusive ex. She pulled the fake OP and his gaming system. Can we do anything? This is a wonderful question for the lead attorney. He practices family law and has for a long time. Sometimes he does Q&As on Instagram, so you might be able to catch him there. I'm not really familiar with it. I did take family law, but, I don't want to give you advice that's not fitting. And also, I'm not a licensed lawyer, so I can't really give you advice, EE. I wish I could help. But yeah, I would try to pursue some other options. He does do consultations, so I would go to his website. He does, like, if you want a second family law attorney's opinion, I think it's theleadattorney.com and consultations. He does do consultations where you can ask him these sort of questions and he can help you put together a game plan. Of course, I don't know what state you're in, but you also have to consider that he practices because he's retired now, in Georgia. So it might be a little bit different compared to what state you're in, but I would say that is your best resource if you're looking for information for your particular situation. Faison says, good morning. Good morning. Hi, Value Man. I thought you were watching on replay. You're back. He says 52 million in 24 hours. That's right. Kat says the mainstream outlets don't really talk about shows of support unless they can say a fight or riot happened. I mean, yeah, you guys know where I'm at right now. This place was mobbed a few years ago on J6. Chris says the deep state is real as well as a swamp. It is very swampy here. Yeah, like I have this like mosquito bite that I just got. Like it's been like, I never get mosquito bites in Atlanta, but I just got a few here and it was like this morning. So weird. Hi, Value Man. Question. Can he appeal to SCOTUS to avoid all this lawfare? I would advise that. I think he should, and he can. So the answer is yes. And he should absolutely do that immediately. You know, um, it's crazy how these things happen. but that will speed the process along. It happened with the tax returns. You guys remember that? For a while, everybody wanted the tax returns, and he appealed the original case. That went up to the Supreme Court, and when it did, the Supreme Court is actually they're the ones that actually released the taxes. So you can't do that. There's a lot of ice cream trucks. Is this why Biden's always eating ice cream? They're everywhere. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all the food trucks. So good question, High Value Man. Um, Faison says I'm coming to NYC in July. Awesome. You'll love it there. Hey, look who it is. I was just talking about you. It is lead attorney. He says salute AV and High Value Man on deck. I wish I could change the banner. I think this is why he's always eating ice cream. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to cross the street. One second. Okay, we're good. We're away from the ice cream trucks. Um, but yeah, so interesting stuff. I think that's why Biden's always eating ice cream. It's like all over the place. Okay, guys, I think this is as close as I can get. I might be able to get a little bit closer, but there's the Capitol building. We're gonna go a little bit closer and go from there. Hala says, hit me up on the Twitter. I can't message you for some reason. Oh, weird. Yeah, guys, I'm building up my Twitter. I don't use it like that, but I'm starting to use it. You guys send me a lot of information there. Oh my God, look at this little pond thing. I didn't know there was water in front of the Capitol building. Did you guys know that? Yeah, this is nice. This is cool. I mean, here's a good thing about this place is that there's a lot of history, you know? I'm gonna get closer to it, turn around so y'all can see it. But this is cool. Look at that. I didn't, last time I came here, I didn't get this close. But yeah, it's like a little pond. There's like ducklings in there. Look at that. Wowzers. We'll take a little break here, read some more. Okay, let's see. Zebra says, I was where you were standing in 1999. I was 10 in 1999. Brian says, I remember this view from Forrest Gump. Jenny. Lead's here. Can you guys shout out Lead? I wouldn't have learned how to do any of the streaming stuff without him, but I think El Guapo is where I've learned how to do this, you know? Shirley says, prayer. I was going to say something mean and ugly, but just say prayer. Stay safe in DC, most crooked place. Yeah, thanks, Shirley. HVM, TLA, and Valhalla all rolling in. Everybody's here on a Sunday morning. Donald says, good morning. Good morning to you. Let's see what else y'all got. Eric is in here. Oh, Seabris, it looks like you were going through advanced individual training for the Army. It's so funny on the highway. They actually have a fast lane to get to Quantico. I thought that was pretty cool. I was just like, oh my God, this is where, you can get to Quantico. It's not far from here. So very cool. Yeah. Thank you for saying hi to Lead in the chat, guys. He was here I think I was watching the replay. He was here last Thursday and no one said anything to him. I didn't even know he was here. He had told me about it like the next day, but no one said anything. I was like, oh my God. Faison said AV's in the building. Good morning, Shantia. I got the hookup says good morning. Thank you. Again, check out Lead, guys. He's got a lot of resources for those that have questions about family law and stuff. Check out his website. If you want to learn how to live stream and become a YouTuber, he has courses on that. The courses are amazing. So many people have taken them. Dear Woke Christian was just here in my chat. Guess what? He took that course and that's how he learned how to live stream. Now he's got almost 20,000 subscribers. So please check out those courses. And I think he has a master. I'm just promoting all your stuff, dude. You're welcome. Brian says African. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how to describe it to you guys, but it is just troubling that like on forums and stuff, and you have to pick what race you are. It's like, I just want to pick one, you know? And I remember like being in school and I would pick black and like teachers would be like, well, you're Cape Verdean. And I'm like, Fuck. Sorry to swear. But like, can I just pick one? Well, and there's no spot. There's no other bubble for me to select. What do I do? Hi, D. Good to see you, D. Um, really, really says, dang. Black is not an ethnic person. Random says, what's up, TLA? Does he go to church? Thank you guys. You guys are showing lead love. I love it. I love it. And he's talking to y'all. He's not sitting in the back. Oh, in church. In church. Blacks can thank Clinton and Biden for locking up blacks with trumped up charges. I mean, it will get worse. It will. Tiff says, I don't even recognize the Democratic Party today. Do you guys remember when Obama ran and like everyone was happy in like 2008? And like every time you asked people like, hey, why'd you vote for him? They're like, because he's black. Like that was a thing. That was a thing. Everyone is out. Oh, look who we have. Shout out to Beautiful Lies. Shout out to El Guapo. Honestly, guys, El Guapo is the reason why I'm streaming here because I had no idea what I was doing. I bought my little mic out. I tested it. I've been asking him questions all day. I asked him yesterday. I was like, how do I do this? And he's just like, yeah, you can absolutely stream from your phone. So I tested it this morning to make sure it worked, and it looks like it is all good. Let me just check my battery, guys. Make sure. Oh, I'm at 52%. I still got a ton of battery life. But yeah, thank you, El Guapo. You guys check out his channel, Beautiful Lies. Great brother. You know, he's supported me. He supported the lead attorney. He's just a solid dude. You know, like you can ask him anything in the world when it comes to streaming. He's so nice and will always answer it. Like I actually did a consultation for El Guapo. He's one of my first clients. And, you know, like I was like, dude, you need to do like travel bro merch. Like you must do this. You must, right? Like I was like, do beach towels, do this. Like we had such a great conversation, but he's such a great guy, you know, and a huge inspiration to a lot of people that want to get out there and travel and want to learn how to do it. So if you haven't followed him already, please do. Please do. Thank you again, El Guapa. It's very, very nice of you. All right, let me go up. Tiff says, the lead, how's it feel to know that Trump has more super chats than you? Ah, Tiff, that was good. That was good. Sentencing is July 8th. Yes, it is. Yeah, no, we're a great team. We are a great team. Cora says, life, liberty, and property is protected unless through due process of law, 14th Amendment. States will throw felony cases on blacks so they can legally enslave them through debt. Trump may fix this now. Yeah, there's a lot of people flipping to the other side. Someone left me a comment yesterday. They're like, you're a conservative now. I'm like, Guaca United says, Elizabeth Holmes delayed sentencing up teen times. Can't Trump? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. But do you want something like this hanging in an election year? Do you want something like this hanging and then you have all these other cases? Like, it might make sense just get it over with now. Agent Orange says, right on, solid and groovy. July 11th is sentencing. UK, it's 3 p.m. in the UK. I've always wanted to go to the UK. Like, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So I want to see where they, like, shot, like, some of the movies. Oxford, all those sorts of things. Huge Game of Thrones fan, too. So Ireland's on my list. We'll get there eventually. That creepy smile. You know what I'm talking about, Brian? He was smug. Super, super smug. Super smug. Hope you guys are doing well. Oh my gosh. High value man, if lead won, you would have to run things. High value man would be there. He'd be there. It's so funny. Random stuff. AV, are you gonna read all the chats? You'll be doing this for 10 hours. I do need to hit the road soon. D, thank you so much for the super. D says the feds have been corrupt since J.D. Edgar Hoover. Yeah. Thank you so much for the super, D. The Charlie says, I don't think he'll go to prison, but why would Trump be soaring in popularity with African Americans when he's talking about taking all their rights away? What rights, Charlie's? What rights you thinking that he's taking away? Just clarify that for me. Gino says Trump needs to sue them for defamation and sue Cohen and Stormy. Gino's getting crunk. She opens her. Oh my God. Gino's getting crunk. All right, guys. So I'm going to try to see if I can walk over to the Supreme Court. And then I'm going to hit the road. This hasn't been that long. It's only been an hour. I'm not going to be here that long. Red Bunny says TLA would open Fogo in Vegas. There is a Fogo in Vegas. You know what's so funny? I just walked by one and I was gonna take a picture and send it to him. But on my way over, I wanted to at least start at the Fogo and then walk over here. It's like a block away from here. And that's actually what would happen. If he was president, he would go to Fogo like every day. Like, it'd be so funny. Pip says AV has a naughty neck tattoo. You know, I got this when I was 18. Obviously wasn't thinking, right? But I was going through a hard time back then. And one of my favorite poems actually is The Rose That Grew from Concrete. So it's a rose growing out of concrete. Because it's kind of like, you know, through adversity and like stuff that you're going through, if you really focus, even though the odds are against you, you can get it done. You know, I've gotten some shit done in my life. I don't know how, but with intense focus, you can do it. So this tattoo, and if I was going to put ink on my body, I wanted it to mean something. Most people that get tattoos do. I mean, but at the same time, like, you guys remember tramp stamps? Like women that would get those? Imagine if you got one and then like 20, 30 years later, you regretted it. And then you have to get that painful, what is it? The removal process? That sucks. Kane says, is Mershon following orders from Letitia James? He can't. She's an attorney general, right? That not an attorney general. Alvin Bragg's the DA. He can't follow rules from her. Because this is what I was talking about with like the separation of powers, right? The judicial branch is that. It's the judicial branch. You know, you don't take orders from someone. Valhalla says, I hate the desert. The only way I'm going to Vegas is with President Lee, y'all. That's where the celebration party would be. Vegas is awesome, though. I miss it. Tiff, at the end of the day, judges are just people. They are. The Tall Man's podcast reacts. I like that name. He says, name one right that Trump is planning to take away from African Americans. Yeah, that's why I was asking Tall Man. I was like, what are you talking about? I want to know what rights you're talking about. Okay, guys, let me do a time check. It's probably about 10. I'm going to try to run over here and then call this a day. Yeah, I'm getting my cardio. I'm like sweating, probably got a tan lines now. Brian says, what right? Yeah, that's what I was asking. You guys are picking up on that. You're like, hey, person, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Clarify for us. Hey, Joey. Good to see you, Joey. It's been a while. Good to see you. Adina says, the July RNC happens 4 days after the sentencing day. Well, it's not even that. Independence Day is coming. Oh, you said after. I thought you meant before. Let's see. Is that the Supreme Court over there? There's a sign. We'll see what it says. Eggleston. Pam says AV's getting her steps in. I am. I'm getting winded. But I am also running out of time because I got to hit the road soon. Okay, visitor center. Yeah, so let's walk through this little area and then I'll start to call it a day. Valhalla says locking him up could create constitutional crisis. It will. People are going to be pissed. People are already pissed, but I think they're going to be even more pissed. Priscilla says in Cali, family would have been donated. However, Newsom, that's a whole nother thing. California is a little bit of a mess. If Trump goes to jail, will Secret Service go to jail also? That's a good question. Because I think former presidents are still, you still have some form of Secret Service protection after you leave office. Paul Mann's podcast, he says the federal and state governments, especially federal, are so far removed from the original purpose. The system stopped working as intended when democracy replaced the republic. No victim, no crime. Good point. good point. And Charlie says, look at Project 2025 and you'll see. What about voting rights and civil rights? The right of choosing to have a say in all things that relate to us. Yeah, well, we'll check it out. I certainly don't have time to right now. We'll definitely check that out. What do we got here? Amazing Disgrace says, that's one crime with 3 counts for every payment. If he paid one lump sum, it would only be 3 counts, possibly 4. Yes, that's the biggest point that I made last week that a lot of people overlooked. I was like, I know it says 34, but no one in the media was talking about that. Nobody in the media was like breaking it down and reviewing the counts with you. That's why I wanted to do it. Is this it? Sorry, guys. I think that might be it. Capitol building's right here behind these trees. This might be Supreme Court here. I'm just gonna try to get a little bit closer. Caustic Chameleon says, our system isn't perfect, neither is any other system. The problem now is that people want judges and DAs appointed instead of elected. This is a grave mistake made by the UK. Well, that's the other thing, guys. With this happening, America is also a brand. And we have to think about globally, you know, like we set the tone and our government system seemed great, you know, compared to other countries. And I think, you know, even for some countries that needed to develop these systems, we used our system as a catalyst or at least a framework. So when we're showing them, look at that beautiful view. When we're showing them that it has flaws and it breaks down from time to time, we're setting the tone. We are setting the tone. So, you know, a lot of people are like, you shouldn't be above the law, but we really have to consider what this means to the rest of the world and how it looks. So when you bring up the UK, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, I think this is the Supreme Court building because I know it's right behind the Capitol. Wow, they're really this close to each other. As a future lawyer, this is pretty cool to like be in front of it, you know? I didn't do this last time I came here. All right, let's keep going. JP, I wouldn't put anything past them at this time. Rashawn is so damn corrupt. Blacks have complained for years the system is rigged. When it's rigged against Trump, it works out just fine. Trump derangement syndrome. Wow, this is a beautiful building. Let's keep going. Brian, I think they will move the convention up to get the nomination prior to sentencing. Yeah, they got to do something about that. I think this is it, guys. It's big. I don't know. I might not have time to get close to it, but I wanted to get a little bit closer for you guys. Let's go. Oh, Terica's back. She has another question. And it's $100 super. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Because this is actually, I see why they call it Capitol Hill. I'm walking up a hill. All right, let me come to this corner, see if we can get a better view. But I think that's the Supreme Court behind us. Terica's question. She says, what would it look like if Trump does get sentenced to probation? Then he gets elected. He would have to ask permission to leave the country. And how would the probation affect his presidential duties? That's what I mean. It's dumb. Like Terica, this is just me being honest. This is why it's dumb. You're gonna put him on an ankle monitor? People are already showing support. Popularity went up even amongst like people my age. So it's likely that he could get reelected. And if he does, how's he gonna do anything? People gonna have to come to Mar-a-Lago? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But great question, Terica, and thank you so much for the support. I think this is like your second super chat. Faison said the judge already made his decision home monitor, so he's stuck in Mar-a-Lago. You're gonna have to do all the rallies there. Wow, look at this view. This is the back of the building. That is the back of the building, guys. Okay. MJ says the Democrats have broke glass, no emergency. The pendulum will swing back and it will be vicious. That is my caution. I think it will be. I think it will be. All right, guys, I'm going to sit, make sure I've captured all the supers, and then I need to make it back to this car and head out to New York. So let's see what we got, and we'll go from there. Okay. Start. Caught lo-fi, caught ironic, caught Terica. Thank you, beautiful lies. I got D. Let's see. Terica, I got your last question. Erie has a question. She says, Trump wants to put American people and this country first. And somehow people are mad about that. Regardless of the verdict outcome, my vote is unshakable. Thank you for using your voice, Evie. Thank you. You know, like, this is scary. I had a dream last night. I was just like, I wonder if people are going to see that I'm live streaming this and think like I'm like an extremist online, but like, I'm not. Like, I just really care about law. You know, I studied it for a really long time. You know, that's why I love like streaming on this stuff and like even working with lead, you know. Can you guys hear me? Did it die? I don't know what's going on. I hope you can still hear me. Michelle, $2 says shout out to High Value Man. Encryption sends a super sticker. Nurse Janice is a member for 2 months. Beautiful AV. We have Black British here in the UK. I love it. I got the hookup, became a new member. Steven is in the building. Steven says, hey, AV, I haven't caught you live in a long time. Our judicial system has been broken for many people. This is a different type of lawfare. However, what's coming? What's coming? All right, guys. I am about to wrap up. I need to hit the road soon. So let me scroll. I'm way behind in the chat. Let me go to our new comments. Going to Michelle, who says, thank you, AV. Trump does put America first. There's a reason that you will vote for him again. Yeah, yeah. Shavo, you about to get blocked. You better stop playing. Okay, guys, I'm going to hit the road. I might check in with you in New York. If not, I will check in with you later in Boston. I want to do more things like this. Boston's also a super historical city. I could take you to the Tea Party, take you to the Boston Harbor and show you where that was done. I could take you to Paul Revere's house where you rang the bell and said the British were coming. Bunker Hill, all the things in the history books. DC isn't the only historic place in our country, but I thought this was a super healing thing to do at a time like this, and just wanted to take you guys on the journey. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I don't even know how to end the stream.